Hi friends, how's it going and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk to you about a debugging tool that I've used recently, which I think could interest you if you are building your own apps and you need to collect data for analytics or in terms of troubleshooting as well. And over here, I have a sample project that's already done and I want to show you what this tool can do. Alright. So previously, about a year ago, I covered a similar tool which is called Swifty Beaver, which allows you to perform some kind of remote logging, which is very useful. And in fact, today, this tool, which is called LogDog, kind of does the same, but it offers a lot more. All right, so I want to show you what this does, a couple of demonstrations, some use cases. So over here, I have log.doc over here. It says it's the best debugging tool for iOS and Android apps. So what it does logs. It does mocking, and I think mocking is probably one of my favorite feature. As an iOS developer, most of the time when the backend isn't ready with the payload, we do mocking via some kind of proxy software. For me, I use Proxyman. So it looks like this LogDog is able to do that on the fly remotely. So I thought that's incredibly powerful. All right. Okay, screen sharing, I've not really tried that, and it's in beta mode, so I can't really talk much about that. Yeah, you can also take screenshots, export requests. I've only tested some of the more crucial ones, so I'm just gonna quickly show it to you. All right, so I've already tested the trial. So if I'm to sign in, you'll notice that I have a dashboard over here, and I've played with my device, which is this one over here. Okay, so maybe before that, let's go through the project and let's see what we can expect. Okay, so this is just a login page, a very typical login page. Over here, we have an image. Just think of this like a company logo or your app logo. And then we have some captions over here. And these captions are actually fetched remotely, all right? Meaning to say that we fire an API and then we get back the response to populate this. And I'm going to show you how you can actually mock it, which is pretty powerful. And then over here, obviously, we have the username and the password, a login button. And I have this button that I put over here so that you can open up the logging model, okay, something like that, which I'll go through in just a bit. All right, so let's look at the project over here. So we have the content view, which only houses the login view, which is this one over here. Okay, we have the custom text view as well as the custom secure view. This is not really important. This is mostly just for this customized text view here. All right, so I think the main part is actually the login view over here. Okay, but let me just move this aside first, and let's just go through the code, how we perform the integration. So at the moment, LogDog is integrated via CocoaPods. So I believe in the near future, they might integrate SPM with that. Okay, so the way to initialize is quite standard stuff. Okay, let's come to the login view. All right, so let's have a look. Okay, so I want to share, like, you know, what are the use cases that I found in this. So I'll come to this later. So let's come to the code first. All right, so we have a view model. So the view model fetches the URL over here, this Nike URL, this Nike logo from this WordPress URL. Okay, I initialize a logger over here. I have some logic over here, and it fetches the login view. So basically, I house the payload inside JSON keeper, and then after that, what I do is that I just populate the values in this label over here. All right, so this login is a kind of pseudocode. So what it does is that it checks if the username and password is admin and password. If it's the case, then we show a checkmark symbol. Otherwise, we show a kind of failure. And if you notice over here, I perform some kind of logging as well. So we're going to see whether it appears on the dashboard or not. Okay, over here, we have the login view. So the login view has an instance of the view model that does all its logic. And if you realize over here, the login view, it should be really succinct. Okay, we have the logo. This is inside a VStack. The header, which is this one. We have the form. And then we have the login button, which is this one here. The status view, which is not appearing now because it's empty. And then finally a spacer to push everything up. Okay, so let's also have a look at the logo. Okay, so this is how I define the logo. Nothing too interesting to talk about. This is how I define the header. So you notice over here, the header, which is this part, takes the text from the view model. All right, it's called login text.title, login text.caption. All right, we'll go to the view model in just a while. And then we have a form with just the text field, nothing too fanciful. And over here, the login button. All right, we have a login button here. And then what do we do? Oh, and finally just a button over here to show the LogDog sheet. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is to just clear the logs. Okay, let's clear the logs over here. And then the way I'm going to do it is to come to this one over here, the logs. Okay, so I'm going to clear it. Okay, so I'm going to relaunch the app, and notice what's happening is that inside my view appear, I'm actually logging something. Okay, on appear, I say login view appeared. All right, so you can track when a particular view or your view controller appears. Okay, so I'm just going to launch the app right now, and maybe let me just open this up and notice that almost immediately, actually not almost immediately, yes, it's almost immediately that this log is showing up. All right, so you notice I have another one over here. Login view appeared, and then it prints out some metadata inside over here, which could be pretty useful if you want to, put in some kind of some additional information like error messages and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to maybe just input a username that is incorrect, and let's just hit the login button. So notice that when when this fails, I show this error message, and I also print out the logs remotely as well. So let's have a look. So where's that? That should be inside the view model. All right, the login view model. So over here, so notice that if it fails, I put in login failed for user with my username. Okay, obviously you can print out the error message as well, the error.localize description, but a word of caution over here, you should always use this logging mechanism on debug mode, ideally never on production, unless you are very sure that you're not going to print out any sensitive information like API keys, credentials, access tokens, and things like that. All right, so this explains the logging part. All right, now the more powerful part that I want to share with you is actually the mocking. Okay, so but before that, notice that when this page load, it does a couple of things, right? Firstly, it fetches the Nike logo over here to populate this image view, and then it calls another endpoint as well, jsonkeeper.com, to get the information over here. And I want to show you that actually this information is actually being logged as well. So let's come back to the dashboard. If you come over here to the events, or is it events, or was it network? Yeah, notice that it also tells you that, oh, it's actually calling this endpoint, and it's fetching from JSON and returning those and returning the response as well. So I would say that this is actually super helpful, especially if you are building a feature and you are submitting this to your QA to test and something goes wrong, then you can always come back over here and see what API calls are being called. Maybe one of your parameters or your params is incorrect. So this gives you a lot of transparency. All right, let's come back to the code. Okay, so the last thing that I want to show to you is actually the mocking. So you notice over here, welcome back, please sign to continue. If I am to just open up this JSON payload, let me come to my browser. Oops. Okay, you notice that this is reflective of the information over here. So now let's assume you want to confirm that, if the text is too long, it's not breaking anything, or the truncation is looking correctly. How would you do it? Typically, you would test it. You hard code a longer string, or you try to mock it using Proxyman. But in fact, you can actually do the mocking right inside LogDog, which I think is one of the most powerful feature. All right, so let's come over here to mock APIs, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just create a mock here, a mock route. And then for the examples, I'm going to paste in this one here. Okay, let me just remove these quotes. And then I'm just going to paste this in here. Okay, and then I need to save it. Okay, so what's going to happen right now is that when I load this, it's going to obviously return this back, but it's actually returning from this mock route over here. So if I am to do 1, 2, 3, and let me just hit the save button over here, notice that if I am to run this again, oh, am I seeing that? No, I'm not. Why is that? Oh, sorry, my bad. The reason why it's not working is because I've not enabled that yet. All right. So now that this is being enabled, when I am to queue the app and relaunch again, then now I'll see 1, 2, 3. So don't you think that this is super powerful, right? So actually you can test with like different payloads, and see how your app is going to respond kind of real-time remotely, instead of you having to run it on the simulator and then mocking the payload inside the proxy man. You can actually just do this on the fly, especially if your QA is holding her own device herself. You can actually change the payload almost immediately. All right, so I just want to come to a couple of use cases over here. So these are some of the common issues that's faced during testing and debugging, where your QA encounters a bug during testing, but he or she is unable to reproduce it later. So what this does is the events is really helpful to find out exactly what are the APIs are being called, whether certain params are being left out or not. All right, and also designers report UI issues like text being cut off or overflowing. So a good example would be this. All right, so please sign in to continue. So let's assume I want to ensure that the UI is not breaking. I can just kind of spam this. All right, let me just spam this and see. So now that I've kind of spammed the text here, I will see that, okay, this is the expected UI if the text is too long. So this is really helpful for doing UI QA as well. All right, let's come back. And then this is also helpful. QA struggles to identify or describe the exact screen or flow where a bug occurs. So this part really helps because it tells, where is that? This part really helps because it tells what the APIs that are being called at which view controllers. And also, I think there's one last one that I want to share as well. So for example, QA or the tester say that, hey, this screen has a problem. In fact, you can actually take a screenshot here as well. So you can come over here, hit take a screenshot, and you realize that the screenshot is taken. Let me see if this is working. All right, I fired that twice. Yeah, so you can actually see the screenshot that's being returned. So this is all being done remotely. All right, so I think that's really powerful. I'm sure there are a few other features over here which I've not yet explored, but just this once alone, I think that it's really worth checking it out. All right, and finally, showing this LogDog sheet. Yeah, so on this page, it gives you a couple of details. It tells you your API key, the endpoint, the device ID. It allows you to log to the device. I'm not really sure what these are, custom events. But I think something powerful is over here, open mock cache. You notice that you are able to see what are the things that are, which is the endpoint that's being mocked. So I thought that's pretty powerful as well. All right, otherwise you'll be testing blindly. But over here, at least you can see what are the payloads that are being modified. And also, if you open the log over here, this is basically all the logs over here, but on the device itself. All right, so I don't think there's much to talk about here. Yeah, so overall, I find that this tool is pretty useful. It's pretty helpful as well. But a caution, you might want to be more careful if you put this inside the production environment. So alright guys, thanks for watching to the end, and I hope that you find this useful. So feel free to check it out and see if it's worth your time. Alright, see you guys. Cheers, bye.